kept it interactive. And we go from there, and here's Larry Chiang. Give him a Wharton applause.
I will try to not suck. So, I mean, I am an engineer, okay? So you do have to forgive that I will talk engineer, okay? At times.
You're a good company.
I'm not going to repeat what I just heard. Okay. There is a parade of people that come through and speak at Wharton, okay? You take that parade and you hook everybody up to a talent meter, okay? You hook everybody up to a talent meter. I am in the first or fifth percentile when you're counting from the bottom, okay? Basically 9 out of 10 people, 90 some people out of 100 people will be more talented speakers, more talented at business, more talented in general than me, okay? True fact. True fact. That's just the bad news that I'm going to break to you right now, okay? The good news is that, come on in. The good news is that I've been able to get stupendously awesome results using the things that I learned from my mentor, okay? Forget about me. Forget about the stuff that I have done. Look to see what my mentor taught me, okay? Anytime I mention some thing, or I host the New York Fashion Week party to try to get technical co-founders, okay? Or host 11 events at that tech conference, South by Southwest. Don't say, oh my gosh, I'm really impressed by Larry Chiang. Say, oh my gosh, where did he learn it from? This is where I learned it from. You guys, I know you guys are grabbing food and eating and, you're just struggling with his utensil. See? Grab a pen and write this down, write this name down. It's my mentor's name. His name is, I'll wait for you guys to grab a pen. Mark McCormack. Mark McCormack. Genius man. He went to Yale Law School. He wrote the book, What They Don't Teach You at Harvard Business School. The genius thing is, his book was published in 1983. His book was published in 1983, and it's a dated book. He talks about Nixon. He talks about Wimbledon. He talks about Martina Navratilova. Okay, maybe the case studies are outdated. Hi, how are you? Come on in. Maybe the case studies are seeming old. They're not. They're genius. Mark McCormack. He started IMG, International Management Group. It'll dovetail specifically right into how to host events to increase each of our deal flow, so that way we can recruit a technical co-founder. So that way we can get started without having to wait for venture. So that way we can get up and going without waiting for a bunch of barriers that are seemingly in our way. So talent-wise, I may not be that talented, but as far as doing and execution, I've been able to boil down the first handful of steps out of the batter's box. First handful of steps out of the batter's box. That's my goal. So I'm going to throw a little quiz question with bun me dinner comps. Who saw the blog post and or video and can regurgitate one snippet of that I posted yesterday on some Facebook wall for you guys? What's your name?
Tim.
Tim. Hi, Tim. How are you? I'm Larry.
Watched the video this morning. I remember you're giving several steps. One recommendation was if you can't initiate something yourself, maybe copy something that's already been successful. As you said, I think you said you wrote a book like What They Didn't Teach You at Stanford Business School, based on your mentor, What They Didn't Teach You at Harvard Business School.
Thank you. There's this great article. Who's a founder? Who's an active founder who's on the front lines right now who is in danger? Who's that founder? Okay. You guys are in danger because you may not be payroll, you may not get your next milestone, you may have to go work at a company that sells credit cards to college students, and you got to carry around fuzz junk around. Okay, it's embarrassing, so you don't want to do that. Engineer up some momentum. Put that in quotes. Google that. Engineer up some momentum. Using social media, there's a system that I hacked and broke down. It's called Engineer Up Some Momentum. Your Eventbrite plugs into your Plancast, plugs into your YouTube, plugs into your Facebook page, okay, and you can engineer up momentum specifically. There's this other article that I also wrote, which, sorry, I'm going to be plugging a blog post, but at least it's free, right? It's not like a $180 book that everybody's selling. Entrepreneur Jiu-Jitsu. Entrepreneur Jiu-Jitsu. Has anybody ever seen a Bruce Lee movie? 5'5". He kicks a lot of butt because he uses the momentum of your punch and your aggression against you. Entrepreneur jiu-jitsu. Same thing in the market. You plus a technical co-founder that you haven't found yet, plus a part-time developer who's not exactly full-time, okay, that's not a lot of momentum. Entrepreneur jiu-jitsu is identifying the existing momentum that's out there and just doing through these steps. Tim mentioned one thing, steps, okay? I don't want to give you one idea, I want to give you a sequence of ideas. Everyone out there that you guys are competing against is one-click purchasing, one-click entrepreneuring, okay? One idea that's maybe fundable. It's not, okay? It's not. It's 30 steps in sequence in the same way that you make guacamole, okay? In the same way that you make banana bread. In the same way that you make legendary guacamole. Steps need to be executed in sequence. And if there's one thing that I can leave you with that my mentor taught me in how to go from zero to hero, okay? That's another phrase that you can actually break down. Steps people took in pattern recognition, pattern replication, pattern iteration, for going from zero to hero. And the good thing is you guys aren't at zeros because you guys are here at this great institution, so let's conjure up some of that other momentum. Tim, I have a Bun Me San Francisco gift card for you. Is it bad that I'm throwing out comps like this?
No, it's fine. That's important.
That's what happens when you're at the bottom part of the talent rung, right? Is you gotta like step up your game. And this is my game stepped up. Tim, Bun Me gift card, dinner on me. I'm not gonna join you unless you text me and you want to. Oh, that's another thing. This is my goal for this session, okay? I am not as talented. This is my goal for this session. This is an obnoxious goal because I've got about 20, 25 minutes left. I want the next 25 minutes to be the equivalent return on investment for an entire year of tuition here. Is that obnoxious?
Yes.
Remember, I went to University of Illinois undergrad for engineering. I now teach at Stanford. It's not because I'm whatever. It's because I give people their return on investment. Here it is. I'm going to cheat it. Not really cheat. Okay, and this is the criticism I get is, oh, I don't know if you're joking, I don't know if you're serious. That's just my method because I want to joke. Both of them are serious. Both of them are absolutely serious. The reason I do that is that way at night, okay, when you're dreaming, you're like, oh my God, he was actually serious. Okay? That way I'm talking into your subconscious. This is what a psychologist taught me, okay? If you're hitting them over the head with truths, okay, you feel like you've been beaten over the head. But if I throw in a joke where I'm saying, oh, I'm a supermodel and this is how I crashed Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week from the runway model to then host, okay, then you're like, oh my gosh, you really were serious with that. These are the methodologies for it. This is how I'm going to gain. Am I talking ADD right now a little bit? I was taught to because if I don't, people don't. This is your ROI. In the next 364 days, you can control and toggle me and use your little iPhone that you guys maybe aren't making as many cold calls on, okay? Use that iPhone to toggle me to help you get distribution for your company. Oh, I'm having a hard time getting a technical co-founder, okay? This is your ROI. I will help you do 2 to 5 events, okay, that don't cost a whole lot of money. If you want to Google minimum viable party, I believe that that phone number, which actually is connected into my pocket, gets you that ROI. It gets you that distribution. It gets you a chance to get a celebrity that you are in front of, okay, or some industry celebrity. Some celebrity that if Mark Benioff were to love your Salesforce CRM knockoff tool that does text message, customer relation management stuff, okay, and he's 2 floors down because he lives at the St. Francis, he lives at the St. Regis, okay, and he's down in the lobby, and you now have my phone number saved because if Mark Benioff says one nice thing about your company, that's distribution, okay? And then the party methodology is minimum viable party. Minimum viable party. Okay, Tim, thank you for that. Who else saw stuff that I posted? Nice. Nice.
Something about a lemonade business.
Love that. Anybody else see stuff that I have posted? That's a huge hack too. That's a huge hack too, is live Googling of stuff right before a speaker. The way that you can now influence speakers, it's so obnoxious, okay? It's so obnoxiously simple, especially sitting in your guy's seat. This is the maneuver that you guys want to execute from your guy's seats if I were sitting in your guy's seats. It's called the MVBP. It stands for Minimum Viable Blog Post. Minimum Viable Blog Post. Speakers value one of your blog posts almost as much as something coming on the New York Times. So let's say you're trying to get a technical co-founder, okay? And the speaker's got a small network, okay? Gmail alert them. The way a Gmail alert is you mention the name Larry Chiang, and then Gmail alerts me that it is now currently a live name on a blog. Most people, after they hear a speaker, the percentages are astronomically getting worse and worse for who contacts a speaker to follow up. You throw together a minimum viable blog post, you own that speaker. You own me for 364 days. I'm easy, okay? I'm super easy. I'm super easy with the cell phone. You can toggle in the real world. I'm showing you guys how to toggle me with this. You can toggle people in the real world using the MVBP, minimum viable blog post. What's your name?
I just want to make sure it's 283.
Oh, sorry, yeah. It's the non-engineer in me writing, right? Did you have a question or feedback? Who has feedback so far? I presented some outlandishly obnoxious ideas. Tim?
Well, so just to get a sense, you're suggesting the minimum viable blog post is I listen to a talk, I like the speaker, I go back in my blog and talk about the speaker?
Yes.
And that speaker is going to know it because you've assumed that they set up a Google alert on their own name?
I haven't just assumed that I know it. I know that they've absolutely have their own Gmail name and company name or phraseology notified. And this is exactly how to do a minimum viable blog post. Easiest thing ever. In fact, if you guys throw together a minimum blog post about me, I will throw you a nice Amazon gift card. Minimum viable blog post. This is okay, careful, this takes a lot of time. It actually doesn't. 12 sentences, 2 pictures, 1 focus. 12 sentences, 2 pictures, 1 focus. You want to get a ROI with 3 minutes? I can write 12 sentences in 2 minutes. 2 pictures, I scrape them off my phone, do the little screenshot, done. No Tumblr, WordPress. No Tumblr. And it's because of Google SEO, search engine optimization. Lemonade Stand Business, that's where you are doing a simple business before your real business. It's what happens when to get into this room, you had to have aced methodology to get into a great undergrad school. Then you had to have worked 2 to 5 years or maybe longer, and then you're here. I mean, you haven't had a whole lot of time to be a kid and play. That's what stuff like Startup Weekend is, okay? Which is a chance to play with a lemonade stand business. Now, I'm going to name a couple of lemonade stand businesses that are surprising. Face Smash. Mark Zuckerberg's? That used to be a lemonade stand business. Now look at it. Craigslist. Okay? eBay. At first, it started out being a joke business, and then he's like, "Oh, I was totally joking about the Pez dispenser thing," and then now he's back to finding out that it was really the Pez dispenser business, and that he wasn't just being a really smart analyst. Amazon, same way. It's a lemonade stand flavored business that just grew and grew. So I encourage you guys to explore and play with the lemonade stand business before your first real business. And the way to do that is by leveraging maybe an existing trade or maybe promoting something to get from the idea creation perfect product with a silver bullet, the line of thinking that we as people who are academically smart tend to do, and to get onto the community college side of the equation. Okay? And what I mean by that is if you're academically smart, then couple that in with some street smarts.
So you had the same topic in your video post, and I got confused. What is your definition of a parade? Is your definition of parade just any public event that you can take advantage of because somebody else has already organized it, and all I have to do is tag on?
So there's a great example, which is the America's Cup, which is going to be across the street from here. And that is an existing parade that's huge, that some team of Wharton students can absolutely take advantage of. Because you just take the energy of that parade and then you can redirect it into an after party. And if you want to specifically go into that methodology, I wrote a post in TechCrunch called How to Hack an After Party. So if you just Google Larry Chiang After Party TechCrunch, you'll be able to see the methodology for how to host an after party. Because most conference producers, they program content from 8 o'clock, bless you, 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, okay? They don't do a midnight speaker. And let's say you're trying to do the Java conference, okay, because you're trying to hire a technical co-founder, okay? Guess what? The Java dude who's a pro, he woke up at 2. He rolled into the session at 3:30, and you can host a 1 a.m. party. No alcohol, tap water only, and then when people are like, oh my gosh, this party's the lamest party ever, just blame it on me. Be like, Larry Chiang told me to host a tap water and pizza party. Because that's what the developer wants. He wants a group of people that are meeting, and then the steps required is just to execute the Larry Chiang after party. Now, this is a reaction. Somebody had a question. I'm going to get to it in a second. Who had that question that was input? No, Tim had the question. There was a follow-on question that was to it. This is then the next step that you guys might be thinking because you guys are academically smart, okay? Which is, aren't you going to ruffle some feathers and make people mad, okay? Or what if everybody else did this? I'm going to address these this way. You're going to be starting a company that might be putting other companies under and out of a job. That's ruffling feathers. Here's another thing that's actually extremely safe because I'm actually very risk averse, which is there is a methodology in how to ask only for forgiveness, not permission. You just type in permission, forgiveness, guacamole. I outline literally 60 steps to never ever have to ask for forgiveness. I hijacked value-addedly, okay, and that's the key. If you want to do these things, you've got to do so in a value-added way. Just Google guacamole, permission, forgiveness. Guacamole, permission, forgiveness. It is 60 steps in a root diagram, okay? I'm sorry if you have an econ undergrad, okay, but I am an engineer. And a root diagram is like a choice like this. I'm kidding, okay? It's basically a bunch of steps in sequence that make sure you never have to ask for forgiveness because you're going to be updating your little value-added hijack. You're going to be updating to the host America's Cup, to the host IMG who produces Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week. You're going to host to the academies for the Oscars. Okay, you're going to be updating them as often as a FedEx package. You're going to be over-updating, and you will give people line item detail. And this is all outlined in forgiveness, permission, guacamole. There's an article. By the way, if you guys are thinking guacamole is weird, it's a scam of recipes called guacamole. Guacamole. The same way that I crashed the venture industry and raised a mega fund and spoke at annual LP meetings. This is where you guys are going to think I'm joking or not. I spoke at LP meetings, and I'm not even a VC. I'm a random guy, literally off the street. And I wrote this article that dropped my St. Patrick's Day boxer shorts to the ground that specifically said 7 questions LPs should be asking their VCs. 7 questions that LPs should be asking their VCs. That's another way to crash a conference, is to pre-blog the conference that you're trying to crash. Pre-blog the conference that you're trying to crash.
What are LPs?
Limited partners. Those are the people that fund VCs. And every November they host, every November they host meetings for all of their investors. Their limited partners also have partners that invest. And they have these annual meetings and they track every VC and who made what progress. And so the venture industry is changing. I looked at it and I've been hacking the venture industry as well. forgiveness versus permission, forgiveness versus permission. You can actually go stepwise. Update like a FedEx package, and then when they say, no, don't host it on Tuesday night, October 13, 2013, can you move it 6 hours? Yeah, it's like a year from now. I can totally move it 6 hours. That's good, because before that, I want to do this event where the America's Cup chairperson does a ribbon cutting. Maybe we could do it there. Because guess what? At most organizations, none of these people, especially if they're large, I swear, all these large organizations, all they do is sit in meetings. Okay? You know why I was able to fundraise and to do guacamole? It's because every Monday, every VC's out of the game. All day meetings. I don't know what they talk about these meetings, they're not executing. And guess what? Fridays they don't work. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they're doing coffees. There's no way they're executing innovation. And that's your guys' advantage too, because large organizations, they're going to be sitting in meetings all day. You and your two co-founders, okay, want to guacamole up some momentum for yourselves. That is specifically the way to do it. I saw a hand pop. Yes?
Hi, my name is Ashmi.
Hi, Ashmi, great.
Talking about a lot of topics, I'm just trying to make sure I understand everything. But I guess what you're saying is in order to find, either to get well known or to find people you want to work with, organize events, but how do you actually get targeted people to attend? Because I don't want America's Cup attendees to come to my
Perfect.
co-founder.
Perfect. So do you want to go over a live example? Do you want to go over a fictitious example? Or
Let's go technical co-founder.
okay. So let's say at a
I
Java
go to a lot
conference.
of technical conferences. I go to a lot of the after parties and
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It's not what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm just trying to
So
understand.
the transition that, how do I pronounce your first name again?
Sorry?
How do I pronounce your first name again?
Ashmi.
Ashmi, okay. So the transition that I'm guessing, I don't know you, I mean, I'm just going to try to put you in a bucket, guess, is you're going from guest at some of these parties to hosting some of these parties. Okay. And so come on in.
I know you.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'll come back if you're done.
Going from guest to host, okay? And there's actually a guacamole recipe in going from not only guest to host, but also from crasher to VIP, okay? Because it's the same and similar methodologies where you're taking an existing conference, 3-day conference that's a technical conference for Disrupt in New York, okay? And before they used to not host after parties, well, now they do. How do you wedge in a during the day party? How do you wedge in, and this is the first question you want to ask yourself at any 3-day tech conference, is what is wrong with this conference? Sometimes the first day lunch is paid for, but the second day lunch isn't. That is true at App Nation. Hosting a huge lunch could be expensive, but having a minimum viable lunch for 12 people to start, and then later on, when you do and this is what you want to do a checklist of, because you're engineering out momentum to try to get deal flow for your perfect candidate, right? You've got to do an Eventbrite, a plan cast, and all those things that are a checklist thing to execute. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to deal flow 80 people to be aware, maybe 300 people online, maybe 80 people are aware, RSVP, and 20 and 25 people show, and maybe you'll get 1 or 2 or 3 decent people out of that. So it's kind of the inexpensive, zero-cost way of looking specifically at a 3-day tech conference. That's where I initially started all this, is because people who are at tech conferences, these people who produce these things, there's just holes, to leave it very positive. There's holes. There's holes even at the best parties. The Oscars, okay, granddaddy event, they canceled their fashion party inside of 2 weeks. When you say Oscars, I think one thing, fashion, red carpet. They canceled their party. Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, they canceled their gift bag. Calling an audible, I'm sorry, that's lingo, but an audible is what an NFL quarterback does when they see something that the defense isn't allowing or is starting to allow. And in the real world, the defense is paper thin. Paper thin. There's always I'm going to use the word always, even though I'm not supposed to. There's always an opportunity at a tech conference to wedge in your effort to do a technical co-founder and to simultaneously build awareness. Because the way that a technical co-founder massively gets recruited is to see that you've got a ton of momentum already. It's just that your site crashes, when peak traffic hits. So that way the technical co-founder who's signing up isn't just working for zero or for free. He's getting in, he's finding, all a technical co-founder is doing is listening, maybe not to me, but looking for parades. Oh, Pinterest, I want to sign up there. Quora, 2 years ago, I want to sign up there. Facebook, 4.5 years ago, I want to sign up there. That's what you need to do, is you need to find a parade, augment that parade, and then that's how you recruit. You can't piecewise say, hey, by the way, you're going to be coding this stuff up. Can you also read 30 of Larry's blog posts and then help me promote too? Because the most powerful person to promote is the technical co-founder. The most powerful person to promote is the technical co-founder. In fact, if I were sitting in your guys' seats, I would look at Mike Dorsey, okay? He's a GSB. He actually, Stanford Business School, he actually came to the business school from community college. He almost renounced his GSB-ness. Mike Dorsey, I met him forever ago, Summit at Stanford, right when he was the first day admit. He ended up renouncing his GSB-ness and started calling himself a CS major. He took some like Stanford fluffy independent study. Stanford's so open. I mean, they'll let anybody teach there. Stanford fluffy. You don't have to renounce your Wharton-ness, okay? But start to pretend and start to quack like the duck of, hey, I'm a coder, sort of. Or at least know some code.
Me, right?
Yeah.
So technical conference, I get it. Thank you. Other means to finding technical co-founder?
Deal flow. Deal flow. Deal flow is the big thing. Deal flow is a huge thing. Because if you're not enjoying the company, the prospects that you're getting, increase your deal flow. I mean, that's what VCs are also.
Can you expand on that a little bit?
Sure.
What is deal
If you're hosting, okay, so if you're hosting one event from 6 to 9, I don't even know what time to come to that. Do I come at 7:15? Do I come at 7:20? I recommend that you host 11 events.
Can we, let's look outside of events.
Okay.
What are the other ways to identify?
Right now,
is it just events or nothing?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what happens is when you throw up a web page or a blog post, it's a single standalone thing that isn't real.
Sure.
Okay. And in the real world, events are so massively open source right now that that's just a huge advantage. The other huge advantage, which you're going to hate if you dislike events, is cold calling people's cell phone. But let's set that aside because that's a totally different topic for a different time. But right now, people are actually open to you calling and texting their cell phone because people's cell phone interaction minutes have dropped dramatically. Is it true in this room? How many minutes do people use on the phone a month now? Most people's minutes have dropped through the floor. I mean, their phone doesn't ring.
So, would you qualify meetups? Let me finish.
I want to hear what you said.
No, I said I would still find a way to get a.
Okay.
So.
Sure. Okay, that's why, I mean, we're going to set that aside for live events.
So, meetups, hackathons, would you qualify them as deal flow enablers?
Sure, in augmenting the hackathon, okay, because people are going to forget to order food at 3 o'clock. Or doing a pre-event, the pre-event cocktail. 3 weeks prior to a hackathon, most hackathon organizers don't do an event that's 3 to 7 weeks before the event as a 1 hour cocktail awareness. You don't have to have it be open bar. You can have it just be at a hotel bar. So you're just building awareness. But it's critical to then coincide the real world event with some of the stuff that you're doing online. With the minimum viable blog post, with putting it up on Facebook, with even putting up a Pinterest board. I know these things sound like so simple to do, okay? But everybody's looking for the magic one-click entrepreneurship thing. And I don't have it. I've got 60 steps for the hackathon that's at Stanford. I mean, I can't tell you how many people email me and say, hey, can I speak at Stanford? Bring pizza. Speak. I mean, everyone's looking for a technical co-founder. There's actually Hackers and Founders. Have you heard of Hackers and Founders? Okay. That guy found a technical co-founder. What's his name? Storify guy, Bert. Bert found a story. Bert found another HBS girl. Her name is Jessica. She started a similar thing, Hackers and Founders. That's how she got her technical co-founder. So to be a founder, you're going to have to do one of these lemonade stand businesses, and one great lemonade stand business is to start an event.
So for my company, we're doing our own event, so I don't need to try to find somebody else's, but part of your 60 steps, are you giving recommendations in there on how to promote your own events?
You never want to really, never is a strong word, but I will, you never want to do your own parade from scratch. You want to attach your parade, you want to attach your event to an existing real-world event. So if you're doing a standalone event, there's a lot of danger and risk, and I hate risk, and I want to mitigate as much of it as possible. Doing an augmented pre-event, pre-workshop, pre-roll, midnight speaker series. There's also a great way to speak it. This is another, I think, there's another maneuver. It's called speaking at a conference that you're not invited to. Speaking at a conference that you're not invited to. Because what happens when you are a technical co-founder, you want to try to get as much deal flow as possible. So augmenting to that conversation by bringing in a speaker that these kids want, okay, these developer kids want. So find the best developer hacker person and interview them. Interview them at midnight, interview them at 1 o'clock. I got Bram Cohen to come speak at a Stanford dinner, the guy who programmed BitTorrent. And I keep throwing him comps. Because do I want to listen to some, guy or girl, okay, from a business school? In fact, your business school specifically was made fun of with the I'm a rock star, I'm just needing 2 developers. Have you seen those comics? Seriously, nobody's seen those comics?
Yeah.
It's a Wharton guy asking for code monkeys. And he's asking for this guy to be like, yeah, I'm a rock star. I'm just looking for a couple of code monkeys. You guys haven't seen it? You guys are like the cautionary tale right now. Let's not laugh here. Let's take you from cautionary tale, okay, to legendary tale. That's what I want for you guys. I want you to go from cautionary to legendary, okay? And the way to do that is by doing this thing called speaking at a conference you're not to do. Bringing in a legendarily awesome developer person and asking them questions. Because these people at these conferences that are inviting these developers, they don't know how to invite them, okay? They do not know how to invite them. You can't just email them once. Getting that developer to show up, you ask them questions, you throw a little free food around, and then you'll migrate because that developer, people didn't think that the developer actually spoke in public. Didn't even know that the CS major could actually put together an entire paragraph. Then that same developer then migrates up to the big stage because the conference producer didn't know that the conference that speaker was available. You guys have been super patient. I appreciated the dozen interactions. Text me if you guys need me. Thank you.
Alright guys, I'll throw the notes up there as I do, and hopefully you guys were able to take away a few things. Cool. I took away a couple. For next time's agenda, I haven't thought of it. I'll think of it and I'll put it out. But if there is something specifically that you are really itching to talk